Dear loving students, in chapter 5 we have studied about the inhuman activities of British rule. Once the British were firmly established in India, they exploited the farmers, traders, craftsmen and the rulers of local kingdoms. Later, we saw the rise of nationalism. Now, let me explain part 1, chapter 6, India wins freedom. The Indian National Congress achieved limited success during its early years. The leaders of the Congress at this time were known as moderates. All the leaders, those were in the Congress, they were moderates and they were not reacting to the various activities that were done by British. Dadabhai Navroji and Gopal Krishna Gokhale were moderate leaders. They believed in pleading with the British government to bring about reforms. Gradually, there were another group within the Congress. It is because all the leaders were not agreeing the policies of the British. Some reacted towards the certain activities that were imposed on the people of our country. So, there grew another group within the Congress. They were called the radicals. They wanted to oppose the British strongly. They were in favor of strikes and boycotts. Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal were the three popular leaders of radicals. Now let me come to the first point, that is partition of Bengal. In 1905, the British decided to partition Bengal. One part was to have a largely Hindu populations, while the other part was to have a Muslim majority. The partition was an attempt to prevent Hindus and Muslims from uniting against the British. British somehow wanted to divide the people, Muslims and Hindus. People strongly opposed the partitions. People knew it that they want to make separation among the people of our country. The Congress launched the Swadeshi and boycott movement. As a result, the British were forced to reunite Bengal in 1911. They want to partition Bengal. It is just to divide the people of our country. But people knew, and later British had to reunite Bengal. Now let's come to the next point, that is Swadeshi and boycott. What does Swadeshi mean by? It means of one's own country. The movement aimed to popularize the use of goods made in India. People were asked to boycott all foreign goods. That means Indian people should not use the foreign goods. That was the main aim. They made huge bonfires of foreign made goods. A large number of women and students joined the movement. The government tried to suppress the government or the movement. Now let's come to the next, the revolutionaries. Some young people in Bengal, Punjab and Maharashtra felt that moderates and the radicals had not achieved enough. These revolutionaries believed that the British could be driven out of India only through force. They were willing to sacrifice their lives for the country. Like Ajit Singh, Arvind Ghosh, Khudiram Bose, Veer Savarkar were the early revolutionists. Some of them were later arrested and hanged. From this, we know that there are leaders, those who have sacrificed their lives for the country. Now let's come to the next. Gandhi leads the nation. In 1915, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi returned to India from South Africa. He went to South Africa for his higher studies, law. In South Africa, he had fought against the racist policies of the white rulers. His method of fighting, known as Satyagraha, was based on two principles: truth and non-violence. After returning to India, Gandhi traveled across the country in order to know the lifestyle of the people of our country and also the attitude. He was shocked by the poverty. He decided to fight not only the British but also the prevailing social and religious practices, especially the caste system. He asked people not to obey the unjust laws of the country. He traveled around our country and he could make the people understand about the injustice that was going on in our country. Now, let us come to the next point, Jallianwala Massacre. On 13 April 1919, a public meeting was held at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. General Dyer came there and ordered his soldiers to fire at the crowd. Hundreds of people were killed and thousands were injured. The country was shocked by this incident. All national leaders protested strongly against this cruel act. Indian people were not allowed to gather anywhere. Without knowing the reality, John Dyer came to this particular place and asked his soldiers to fire at the people. From this, we know that British were against any kind of gathering in our country. And also, Indian people started to react in various ways. We will come to this in the next part of the lesson. From this, I wish to conclude and we will meet in the next class. Thank you.